Hello.
Hi.
All right, so I'll start. Are you happy to be back in Chicago? I didn't realize you were from here.
I'm thrilled to be back in Chicago, and I get to go see my family and my 100-year-old mother, and so I'm happy. Yeah, I love Chicago, and I still have most of my family still around.
Good. So where are you situated now?
New York City.
Oh, wonderful. Can I ask the best question yet? Both of your characters were very staid through the first couple of seasons. You came and you went, you functioned, and you didn't have a backstory. You end up getting shot, left for dead, kidnapped, escape. You get involved with the blonde who turned on you, and now you've become very whole characters, especially you, because you've come out as someone who is icy deadly and taking care of the baby.
Icy deadly. Like that.
The changes in your characters are awesome. Now, what's going to go on? Can you tell us where you're going with these next?
No.
Oh.
Well, did you all watch the end of the last?
Well, I mean, we could tell you where we could talk about what you would have seen, which was last Thursday, I suppose. But after that,
you pulled out all the bodies. That is going to have repercussions throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah, we could say that.
That will affect everyone, even your own.
Yes.
That's good.
I have a pretty
she'll stop us if we
long,
go too far.
I have a pretty long arm right now. Long reach.
So are you just is she calling in favors from all these people? I mean, it's pretty amazing that you could even get this hockey rink or whatever, this ice rink to. Hey, I'm gonna be dumping on my body.
I think I probably know how to do that on my own without even a favor. But there may be some favors that I might call out down the road.
Were you happy with? I loved seeing all that backstory on your character.
It was a fabulous episode. I mean, when I got the script, I was like, oh, they did a beautiful job of that. That backstory was just the whole. They just seemed to.
And the casting of Joanna.
And the casting of Joanna. I was just telling Jon Bokenkamp that Joanna Adler and I have hung out for many years together in waiting rooms, waiting to audition for things in New York City. And we never worked together, and we don't really know each other, but we always recognize each other. We'd say hello at auditions, whatever. And so when I found out she was doing it, I was thrilled because I've seen her work, and she's wonderful. And she was amazing in the episode. And when we finally, when she was cast, I got her number and texted her. You could tell how technically savvy I am. I'm going to tell you each term that I use because I now know how
Aram is here to help you. I'll show you everything. I've actually been teaching her Instagram literally just before this interview.
He's become my tutor, he's an excellent one for sure. So I texted her and I said, if there's anything you want to talk to me about, before you work, so it's very quick. TV is so fast, you like audition, and usually it's kind of like the next day, and I'm working the next day. That's what happened to me with Mr. Kaplan, actually. But, and then we talked, and I said, probably the best thing is just to watch the last few episodes.
Finding this room is difficult.
So when when the episode started, I was watching it as it was airing by myself. Because I was there working, so I was at my apartment alone with a bottle of wine. And I found her number and I texted her. I said, I'm watching us. You're brilliant. So we texted a few times. And at the end, she said, thank you for letting me, walk in Mr. Kaplan's shoes. And I texted her back and I said, you own those shoes. You own those shoes, babe. So,
I have a question about that. I once had to play a younger version of someone on Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. I played Jafar's father. And it was like a flashback. When I got hired, I didn't even know that. And then I literally landed in Vancouver and found out that I had to play the younger version of this actor named Brian George. And he wanted to meet me, he wanted to talk to me. He was very, very concerned with the portrayal of his younger self and had a lot of notes. And I was like, that was where I was headed.
Hello. How you doing? Good. Sorry for being late.
It's okay. That's Susan.
This is like the super secret place to actually meet for the Blacklist. I don't know the place.
And if you're late, you get thrown out the window. That's why we're this high.
I really hope somebody else joins that.
That would be
The last one here.
I will try to save it. And he was very, very concerned. I'm just curious, when you found out and read that script, were you nervous about who and how younger
Well, the
you
first
would be
thing I was
portrayed?
nervous about is that they were talking initially about me doing the younger and older. And I was like, well, if you want to play for my plastic surgery and then you want to take it all away, we could work on that. But otherwise, maybe not.
Do you know that there were, I'm sorry, this is our show creator, Jon Bokenkamp. He created it all. He hired us all. It's like, he's the original Red
He's
Suit.
responsible.
He's responsible, or it's his fault, whichever way you want to look at it.
I just want to finish saying this one thing. I was telling this in the comment section of some of the social media on the site, people thought it was the same actor, and they thought it was makeup. And they
Yeah, no,
different.
yeah.
Well, we were commenting how, what a dead ringer she
It was
is.
really,
I'm
It's been a
still.
while.
it was amazing.
I was telling Amir on the way over here that we saw Joanne in. I saw her on tape from. They put her up for another part on the show, I think a year ago, and I was like, oh my god! And for some reason, she had glasses on that were somewhat similar to these glasses, and I was like, oh my god, wait, that's her. I know we're going to do that eventually, but that's the sort of prequel Mr. Kaplan.
So this was a plan all along?
Yes, we knew that this would happen. I didn't know exactly when it would happen, but yes, we knew we would do this sort of origin story, where we wanted to go back and see how the pieces fit together, and so yeah, it was something we were excited to do.
John, let me ask you, you set a very high bar when you brought the show to NBC. It's something that was definitely very different than what was on mainstream network at the time. Did you have a hard time selling it, and if so, were you able to sell both of those series to them, and how are they open to what you're doing? Because it's very adult and it's really cool.
Yeah, well, certainly they're open to it now. They've been super collaborative. I don't watch a lot of network TV, and the show, in my mind at least, was never really a network show. It was sort of a cable show, and so we went to the networks, and frankly, NBC was the only one that said yes. The others all said no. So it was a near death, and so to their credit, they embraced it and embraced very early on the darkness, the weirdness, casting choices which might have been unusual, including Mr. Kaplan, which could have been a man or a woman, and so yeah, so they've been super collaborative, and they're very open to what we do. Occasionally we, I remember we were dropping a child who was wrapped into a cocoon into a well for some reason. They were like, I don't know if that's really something we need to be doing. And ultimately they let us do it, So we have conversations now and then where they bump on things, but it's been super collaborative, both Sony and NBC.
How involved are you in the spin-off series?
Very. Yeah, that's myself and John Eisendrath and Luke Ryder and Rick Orsi, who are also on the Blacklist, super involved writers. David Owens, the showrunner on that, and yeah, it's sort of a natural outgrowth of the Blacklist.
You pick a lot of stars that come through here. It's always been part of the series to sit up and be shocked by somebody that you recognize coming through there. Who's making the choices? Is it coming from you?
Yeah, but that's one of the most fun parts of the job, is to be able to cast people that you love, whether it's just meeting them on tape, like Clark Middleton, who is somebody who I didn't know who plays Glenn. Yeah, I had not seen him before, and so to discover people like that for yourself, to kind of go, wow, how would this person fit into our universe? Or if it's somebody like Brian Dennehy, who I grew up watching and loving, and it's like, wait, he said yes, he'll be on the show. So that's just part of the pleasure of doing it.
Great.
I had a question.
I want to add just to that. I remember in season 1 when they got people like Diane Wiest to do one episode Blacklist and Jennifer Ely. And I remember I was in the trailer and she was walking by. She says, "Oh my God, I love your character." Jennifer Ely. I was like, "You watched the show?" And I remember knowing then, just in sort of the universe of show business, man, this show is like onto something. And look who they attract and get. That's not it's not easy to do in network television.
No,
Very
it's
lucky.
not.
Well, I think in a lot of ways it's like the old Batman series. People wanted to be on the show because I get to play a bad guy. And some of these actors just don't get the chance to be a really, really good bad guy, because you give every week. You have to find, just the best bad guy.
We look for that. We kind of think of it as our rogues gallery of criminals, and each week is, we try to think of each one like, what's the movie poster is what I'm always asking the writers, is like, is it a horror film, is it a thriller, is it a heist movie, is it, you know, what is the flavor of that episode? And often the blacklister or the guest star that we help define that.
Did you once say you want like Joker, like Batman? Did you once say Joker as an element?
They're big. I mean, they're all like a little. We have like one toe really firmly planted in reality, and then it's sort of like, you know, what could happen, what might happen. So yeah, totally. The weirder, the better.
But that combination of one toe in reality and the weirder is what I think is so brilliant about the Blacklist. And I think that's one of the things I think makes it work. It's kind of Kaplan when I first read the first script that I saw, that I auditioned with. What I loved was kind of this realistic, tough, but with there was somewhere I detected a glint in her eye as well. I mean, so there was that double thing of which I think the show has.
It's I think one of the things that both Susan and Amir and really the cast in general do really well is grounded at least emotionally. I feel like if it feels emotionally true, the scenes that you're playing with James, or the scene where Amir, you're in the box, or Megan's in the box, and you're trying to, those scenes where they're ultimately about something real, those I think is where we have the best cast on TV bar none. It really is. That doesn't happen all the time, you know, because it's easy for those characters to fall into archetypes and sort of become that one. But that's what's one of the best things about the show, is being able to flip that, to take the guy who's sort of technically the tech guy, and all of a sudden he's playing super emotional scenes, or the cleaner who all of a sudden is the big bad in a super badass way and emotionally grounded in a way that you believe. That's the joy of it.
Well, but you're always very careful for the blacklisters and sort of the more core cast. They all have human reasons to do what they're doing. The most evil blacklisters have some sort of reason, history. They were damaged in some way. It's very rare that it's like some evil incarnate, like supernatural. I mean, it is.
Yeah. You all have a crossroad at some point in every episode when you can go either way, because especially you kind of shifted around. You weren't sure. Your heart's broken, but you're going to go through and you're going to do it. And you did the same thing. Mm-hmm. I said to see the human side of your character was mind-expandingly cool, and she's a great character.
She's a gift.
Yes.
She's a gift.
It's funny. Please, thank you. It's funny, you know, the character, both the character of Aram and Mr. Kaplan were not sort of in the original DNA of the show. Like, hey, here's the pitch. Here's what it'll be. You know, and to a certain extent, you find it as you go, and you sort of find what feels real and like it deserves to be part of it. And with both of you guys, it's interesting how, you know, you start writing toward the actor, you start writing toward, you see something they do and you want to bring that back, or you want to build on it. And I think both Susan and Amir are a testament to how you see that literally take shape over the course of now 4 seasons. You were ad-libbing a couple lines, which then became, oh, that guy's kind of fun. Can we get him back? And you know, the same thing for Susan. It's like a very sort of stern. I remember that first episode, very stern and to the point and direct, and yet it's like, well, wait, who was that? You know, we gotta bring her back. So that's from the writing perspective. That's really fun to sort of discover the show through the people who are bringing the characters to life.
Well, Mr. Kaplan was. You guys were talking about the big bads. Mr. Kaplan. What she did with Elizabeth and the baby, as she told Red this week, she did because she was trying to do what she's always done, is protect Elizabeth, right? So she thought she was doing the right thing. Like, she believed she was doing the right thing. So, but now going forward, is she doing the right thing, getting back at Red, or does she have vengeance on her mind? I mean, is it, you know, is she now truly a big bad?
It's a road. It's a road to travel, and I think probably all of those things are valid. She is a woman of few words, and some of the words she can't say. So, it's. I believe that in the episode, or the origin episode that was just aired, I think that was why I went to work with Red. That was my job description. That was what the job I took on. I do say at the end of the episode that I feel that I kind of lost that and that I started going in another direction. I think that a big part of coming back is Agnes. Now there's another child that could be in danger. I think that's a catalyst to some of the action of faking the death and trying to get her away from that.
That's one of those things, though, in writing it, when when we sit down and talk about it, it is a very simple, very clear promise that she made years ago, and it's still that it's easy to muck it up and add on. When I make pizzas at home, my pizzas are always the worst because I'm always putting on all this stuff. And my wife's are the best. It's like super simple. I'm like, oh, I should have thought of that. And the same thing is true. There's a little nugget for you in pizza making and storytelling. But the same thing is true with the stories. It's like the stories are, when they're simple and grounded, I think Mr. Kaplan's character has a very clear intent and plans to stick by it.
Yeah, it makes it, as an actor, sometimes you just bring yourself in circles and overthink something. And what's great about Mr. Kaplan is whenever I start doing that, I'm able to go back, go back to that place. That's what it is, and it makes it just, those are the reasons. You believe it. It can sometimes become obsessive, perhaps,
Isn't that,
but
I'm quite obsessive about any acting I do, and preparing just by pure anxiety alone that I'm not going to do the best I can do. So I prepare, but then when you get on set, it's like the age-old rule, then you let it go, just literally listen and respond to your scene partner. But all that, you build the house, so that circle that you take is probably, it's all in there, even though it might look like one simple, so it's in there. And the camera will catch you if you lie, if you're false. Even if you're not moving, even if it's micro. I've learned so much. People are always like, do you watch yourself? Do you watch yourself on the show? I do, because it's the best acting teacher. I'm like, I remember the day, on that day, I was like, I was really worried about that scene. I didn't feel like I did my best. And it cuts together great. And I'm like, I'm fine. But on vice versa.
About the editors too.
Oh yeah, that's true. The vice versa is fine too. Yeah. Sometimes you think, you're like, that scene was the best, and you watch it and you're like, could have been better. It goes, it's true though that.
Way, but we do have some help on that score.
We come from that. We actually did a play together about 9 years ago, and it's very different because you can flip out on TV and then they edit it beautifully. You can't flip out.
You do that on stage, and you're like, boo!
Over. It's true.
So speaking to character development, when you guys read the first script, did you ever think that this is where your characters might end up? Do you ever think that this is how your storylines would go?
No.
Good answer.
No, that's all his fault. No, I didn't. I knew when I read it, I thought, I really like what's written here. I really like, and I feel that one of the things that you and your writing cohorts do is they are very layered characters. They're not stereotypes. So the minute you read it, you just give that somehow. I kind of felt I knew that there was a lot going on with this woman. That she was pretty straightforward and pretty simple in a lot of ways, but there was depth that was in that first script that you can't buy that. That's so rare to see. It happens. There are really good writers out there, but it's not the norm all the time. So that's a pleasure to work with. But no, I would not have guessed.
1000%, never in a million years would I have guessed that we are now finishing season 4. I am in a love triangle. I've shot up.
Simple. I did text you after that too. It was like, you just became so
No. Tom's doing another show, so they give space for someone else to dance a little bit. I never expected I would be shooting a missile at a bad guy. There are that countless things that when I started, I didn't even know how many episodes. It just, every one was, I thought my function was help solve a case, whatever was needed on a computer, and maybe give a joke, offer a little levity on a very sort of dark show. I literally thought that was my function. We'll see how long it lasts, and I'll be ancillary, and I'll ride it as long as I can. Second season, I got more, and then once we got into third and fourth season, I mean, they were challenging me, and I went from funny, like you said, to having sort of giving speeches over Liz's death, and a few Romeo and Juliet speeches, and she was there too. She was so sweet to me. Okay. She was so supportive. You know. So I consider that, you know, there's this expression with luck is, luck is timing plus preparation. I consider that moment where I ad-libbed that one line, and the director of that episode that became one of our producers who encouraged me, and the fact that John is our creator and was receptive, I literally consider that, that 1 minute, one of the great miracles of my life. And then how it grew from there and organically, and I mean, it changed my life. I mean, if it had ended after 5 episodes, I'd be like, good run, cool. I got to be on a cool show. One season of, yes, I mean, we are in season 4, and I am so excited about what I just shot in the finale. And
ooh, what was it?
There's been some good stuff going on to make sure that you're locked into that roller coaster.
So you
What's that bar called that you have to do? The
Barbell.
The lap bar. Safety lap bar. Get your lap bar clicked in.
Well, what can you tease? Obviously, you don't want to give anything away, but what can you say about why people should get that lap bar on?
Well, I think we have not had on the show to date a villain who is as formidable as Mr. Kaplan. This is somebody who knows all the secrets, knows all the truths, knows about the crimes and the bodies being buried, knows everything, like one of Reddington's closest confidants. So that is very different, and it's very emotional, and it becomes incredibly personal. I remember when we were talking about it, John Eisendrath, you know, we had these sessions early in the season and occasionally throughout the season where we kind of get the room together. Our room isn't, we have a great staff and a big staff, so we divide up a lot, and occasionally we all get together and it's sort of like Thanksgiving, you know? We're like, well, what about this? And what did you like there? And what worked and what didn't? And it was thrown out almost as a joke of, well, what is Mr. Kaplan thinking now? You know, how does Red confront her? He's been very clear about how he deals with betrayal and loyalty. And it was almost thrown out sort of like, what about that? What about Mr. Kaplan? And we kind of giggled, and then it was like, whoa, wait a minute. That is really interesting. And again, it comes from a very organic place within the story. So I do think you're going to see emotional turns, blacklisters still, and reveals about the mythology which which we have not yet landed, you know, that in sort of as a seismic way as we will by the end of the season.
As we know, like, the show is it's very, very serious.
Sometimes.
No, yeah. But offset, who's like the funniest or the I guess the joker of the cast, you know? Jokester.
I'm never there, so I don't know. I'm in LA. You guys would know what that.
Maybe Aram is. I don't think I am
okay.
On set. I'm nervous on set.
Offset,
The character's sometimes funny, you know. There's a lot to do in a day.
Okay.
And time is of the essence. So there's not that much time for.
There's a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun as well.
It's a release though, because when
And
things
it
are
is,
tense
you know,
and things,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
There's
And it's people who I think they've been working together for 4 seasons.
Wow.
So, you know, everybody knows kind of everybody's limit when they need their space, when they're doing something where you just don't talk to them, they need to do what they're doing, and then there are times when there's, you know, you're just getting in a car and driving away and everybody's just being really silly and stupid.
When you're doing like a serious,
I'm just speaking for
serious
myself.
scene.
You're just going, I'm like, you're the worst.
No, we were talking, we don't, No, I'm in love with this woman. There is, we were just talking though about, what were we just talking, I just lost my train of thought. We were just talking in the car that we actually haven't had that much together over 4 years. I mean, we were like in the same room once in season 3, and you said
the two, you know,
but there is...
Red's Army and the FBI are not always going like this.
Yeah, they're not so much.
Kissy-facing. You know?
So like our experiences, I mean, you're always working with, you know, Isham and James, and
right.
I'm always working with, you know, Mojan, Harry, and Diego, and Liz, so it's almost like, it's like twin tracks.
I get Liz once.
More so coming up, too, by the way.
Yes.
You mentioned the love triangle. How is it that he's in the love triangle, but I feel like he's had the worst luck in love of anyone ever?
It's so fun.
Like I say, you write to the actor, you just feel
He's writing for him. Now you're going to have to get personal.
I don't like to talk too much about that. I know, I'm so tempted to.
So
I'm like,
teasing you.
that is, again, like I was saying before, really unexpected. I remember people kept asking me, what do you want for your character? Around season 2, beginning of season 3, I was like, I want Aram to get a hug. I was like, I was like, you know, everyone's got a little, I was like, I know he's like the geek. I was like, let's have someone show, he's not just, that would just be fun and another thing to play. And then boy, did they give me a ton, like 4 seasons worth in like one season.
Watch what you ask.
It was.
It's really fun.
It's so.
It's just.
And it's real. Like there's stuff coming up in the next episode that you'll see, which deals a lot with Samar and Aram's tension, and you know why he would go with Janet, and why they keep. You know, Jodie Walker of EW once said, I thought this was really good. Like people are always like, she's like, I don't think Samar and Aram is will they, won't they? I think it's can they or can't they? Mm. It's like, I don't know if they can or can't, which is also a heavier, more dramatic. And a lot of times we're doing that scene and we're like, how are we going to get out of it? How are we going to get along after this one? And of course, like 2 episodes later, I'm like, you know. So it's a thrill.
That happens, right?
Also, we got to see Mr. Kaplan's love interest. That was the best. That scene was the best. How she became Mr. Kaplan as her girlfriend.
When I read that, and you must be Mr. Kaplan, I was like,
the best.
So good.
It's so good.
I was like,
it's the best.
Guys, how
That's
did you
brilliant.
That was so fabulous.
And Catherine, so it's still Kate, but once her name was Kaplan,
no, it just.
And then it's a perfect.
Yeah, that actually, I get shivers when I read that.
Well, again, that I think is one of those things that's an emotional. It comes from an emotional place, and so within this, all the crazy guns and all the chasing and explosions, all of a sudden there's this little moment that's about why this person is who they are and how they kick the name sort of as not a remembrance. I'm searching for the right word, but like a badge of honor. You know, a love story. Yes. You know. And it sort of defined who she is, and so that was a lot of fun to talk about and think about, and
awesome.
Yeah.
Did she close her heart to everyone but Liz after that happened?
I'm sorry?
Did she sort of close her heart to everyone but Liz after that happened? After her girlfriend was killed?
I don't think she totally closed her heart. I think she's perhaps protective of her.
Didn't Red have that one line when you were pulling up a body about like when she
so-and-so's
sister?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Maybe that was.
So, well, I'm not dead.
While you're in Chicago, are you able to enjoy anything here locally? Have you been able to go
food.
out?
My whole tour is like a food tour. It's like I could map out the city by food, but I've eaten a lot. And I did the architectural river tour.
Oh, that's good.
Which was awesome. It was great. And I saw the tour guide at a restaurant today. So yeah.
Do you have any restaurants or anything that you like, or anybody?
They've been. I don't honestly don't even remember what they are. I just remember the food. I just remember the food.
Harry was in town last week.
Was he? Harry's from Chicago.
Okay.
He directed a play here last summer.
Yeah,
And
Rex
I
is
grew up in
Italian.
Chicago. I grew up in Chicago, so.
Where did you grow up?
South Side.
Okay.
Oh,
Stockton.
And I don't mean the Hyde Park South Side.
Maybe, yeah.
That's South Side.
I'm keeping a close eye on your Chicago Bulls, up 2-1 against the number 1 seeded Celtics. That's a big deal, even with Rondo out and then losing Taj Gibson. Very, very impressive.
That one's Philadelphia. We don't talk basketball.
She's not commenting.
You've got a team though. That
We
team's
have a
building.
team.
Dario Saric, Rookie of the Year.
Look at you.
I like the NBA.
Impressive.
That's
That's
impressive.
my like. I love the NBA.
Okay.
How are you all enjoying C2E2 so far?
Just
Well, this is as
Oh,
far
you
as
just
we
got
go.
this first day?
So
Okay.
we're enjoying you.
Okay.
So far, it's good.
They might eat you alive down there to take.
Oh,
a look at
yeah.
it.
I walked over there and I just was like,
Yeah.
I've never been to one of these.
Okay.
So
Bigger and bigger
it was
every
like
year. Yeah, it is.
landing on another planet.
So John, going back to the dead bodies,
DIY Fair
86 did.
is this gonna? Will we sort of have a body of the week sort of thing a little bit, or are we gonna an exposure?
Well-
That'd be 87 episodes.
Yeah. Hopefully, that'd be fantastic.
we would.
Throw that out there.
You know, the unearthing of these corpses really is the springboard forward to where we're going. I think more so than what each body represents, and there are Easter eggs and nuggets and secrets there that we're going to be revisiting some of those bodies
I love that you call them
specifically.
Easter eggs.
Well, you know, well, some of those there are little Easter eggs there, but also I think they're it really presents not only Reddington and Liz, but the entire task force with a question that that is hard to wrestle with about who they've become. Who, you know, not only what was the relationship between Kaplan and Reddington and the promise that was made, and how far is Kaplan willing to go to show him that he has become somebody who is you know, he sort of lost himself perhaps. But the entire task force is confronted with that as well. They've been working with and turning, you know, the other cheek and walking away and turning their back on crimes that I don't
Ish.
that they've allowed to happen, or
Red
Red
dupes the task force
Okay,
very
defend yourself. Try
often.
and defend yourself.
And Cooper tries to stop him, but Red is too
But
smart.
these are all Red's dirty deeds.
But then we're like, we got a better bat. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
fighting with the
no,
creators.
no, for sure. But they are.
All right.
But some of these bodies represent crimes that have happened after the existence of the task force.
Yeah.
Okay.
And under their watch.
Yes, and under their watch, and that's going to present
They're
a
aware.
real problem. We introduce a new character, Julian Gale, who who comes in next week, I believe, and sort of represents the problem that they have on their hands, and it is significant.
He holds the mirror up.
Yeah, he really does, and forces everyone to sort of re-examine what the relationship is here, and are we going to let this guy take us down too, or not? It's a very complex dynamic, and it's a new dynamic that we haven't had yet. But you know, what happens when this can of worms is opened by Mr. Kaplan, and it's a good one.
We've already made that announcement, the actor who plays.
Oh yeah, Enrique
Marciano.
Marciano. Yeah, it's fantastic.
He's great.
Are you done filming?
Almost.
Almost.
Not quite. Tuesday is the last day of the
Oh,
shooting of the
wow.
finale.
Wow.
Tuesday. And then that'll be
So
22.
we know a lot of stuff.
Well, there still may be some rewrites. No, I'm joking.
So he knows a lot of stuff you guys don't know.
He knows
And-
everything.
Yeah, he does know everything.
At this point, what is the pitch then back to NBC? Like, here's the plan for season 5. Is it different than it's been for seasons past?
Not to me, it's not. I mean, the only way I can really, it's a very delicate balance, and James has talked about this before. In a show where there's so much mythology and sort of secrets, like how quickly do you burn through those? I mean, we had big reveals in Thursday night's episodes, and what's the balance of moving through those too quickly, and what's the balance of sort of, you know, we don't want to sort of tread water, but you don't want to move through it too quickly, and I feel like the end game, the direction of the show, is something that we talk about all the time in the room. I don't know how we could do it any differently. I really don't know. It probably sounds like I'm making this up, but I really don't know how you could just wing it and sort of like fake it. There are things that are discoveries that we go, oh, that's fun, let's chase that. But it really is like looking at the map of where you're going to go, deciding on the 6 cities you're going to stop in, and then throwing away the map and driving. And you may take a big detour, but you got to land at each one of those cities. And yeah, there's a lot of story left, you know. So it doesn't really. Our pitch is what it still was in the beginning.
As long as you have the camper with you, right?
As long as Kaplan has the camper, yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank